Hello there! We are glad to have you with us for another exciting lesson in Module 1. Our lesson for today is about the types and sources of risks in procurement. We will explore various types and sources of risks commonly accounted for in procurement. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to define procurement-related risks and their sources in your organization, link procurement risks to the broader business environment, find out ways to manage commonly encountered procurement risks. So, what are the risks in procurement? Let's say you rely heavily on a large service provider you've been working with for a while. If there is a problem with the quality of service and you decide to hold them accountable, you might find that your agreement with them is old and doesn't address the current issues. Or picture a situation where there is a scandal about illegal payments in the process of choosing contractors for public projects, which could damage your organizational reputation. Another risk could be when political issues in some areas lead to your deliveries being delayed and the cost of shipping containers skyrocketing. All various types of procurement risks can be divided into two parts. Internal risks. Risks are driven by gaps in the organizational internal factors, like processes, controls, and employees. External risks enter your supply chain and are caused by external disruptions. So let's look closer at the top 6 procurement risks and ways of managing them. While we share risks, try to define for yourself whether the type of risk is internal or external. The first one, inaccurate needs analysis. The procurement process begins with understanding and defining what you need to buy, when you need it, and at what cost to run your company. For example, if you buy too much or too little of a product, this can start a cascade of unfortunate events that will impact your business negatively. Buying too much leads to a surplus in inventory, which may require additional storage costs and lead to potential inventory damage or obsolescence. Buying too little may cause you to run out of inventory, which impacts your ability to deliver for your end customer. Procurement planning and forecasting is a great technique to help you develop a procurement strategy, but it depends a lot on sales and manufacturing planning, so the end-to-end process must work well. When you define your needs, make sure you look at the whole picture and highlight to stakeholders and involved functions any gaps or shortfalls that may cause risk. The second is the lack of automation. Organizations that still rely on the manual procurement process face unnecessary risks. Most of the issues come from a lack of transparency in the manual procurement process. It also takes a lot of the procurement professionals' time that could have been spent on developing supplier relationship, strategic activities, or innovation. The solution here seems quite obvious. Automate your procurement process with e-procurement platforms. There is one thing to watch out for here, though. Before automating, make sure you have a well-defined, streamlined process. Otherwise, you will automate the mess, and this will expose your procurement organization to even greater risks. The third is immature vendor and contract management processes. Without defined contract management process, you may create a contract that inadvertently breaks a law, enters a legal gray area, or has inadequate or unclear KPI and review processes. Having shortfalls in your vendor verification, onboarding, and assessment may result in failed due diligence and reputational and financial losses. To mitigate these risks, ensure that you have vendor lifecycle management practices as well as contract requirements which are both defined in procurement policy of your organization. Look at the tools to help you with the contract management process, including templates library, authoring, negotiation and approving contracts, and monitoring execution. You should work very close with your legal partners in this area. Also, the best practice is to have a vendor management system to store, monitor, and track vendor status, deliverable, and risks. Number 4 is unethical sourcing. Customers, consumers, and stakeholders expect ethical and sustainable business practices. And even if your organization is committed to these principles, it may happen that your suppliers or even their suppliers are not. But in case a breach happens, it will impact your procurement and broader business reputation. To avoid it, make sure your vendors meet your sustainability and ethical goals. You should integrate ethics and sustainability into your supplier selection and performance assessment cycle. Number 5 is related to poor supplier performance. Your supplier is a vital business partner that should work with you to increase your success. Suppliers should deliver on expectations, communicate clearly, and collaborate with your team. When suppliers underperform, it puts unnecessary strain on your business to meet customer expectations. The solution here to mitigate potential risk is to have solid supplier relationship and performance management. Understand the risk of your supplier and their suppliers and work on business continuity plans together. Last but not least is supply chain disruptions. These disruptions can take many forms, such as a pandemic, political unrest and wars, economic fluctuations, natural disasters, new technologies, and even incidents like a ship blocking a canal. Handling this risk effectively involves 2 main strategies. First, implementing advanced and ongoing monitoring of the external environment. Procurement professionals must be aware of not just what's happening within their organization, but, crucially, outside of it as well. Second, maintaining your open communication with your supplier is a key. They have in-depth knowledge about their specific sector and can provide early warnings about potential risks. The personal example I want to share is related to the power of ongoing monitoring of emerging risks and supplier collaboration. I worked in a company that operates in the FMCG, fast-moving consumer goods sector. I was in charge of the procurement risk and compliance function, where my responsibility was to ensure that procurement professionals were informed ahead of time about any upcoming events that could affect their suppliers and portfolios. What I did first was understand particular business needs. I worked with category managers to define criteria that were important and relevant to their portfolios. Those criteria could include geography, particular suppliers, various types of events, etc. Then, with the help of a risk technology provider, I set up alerts and buyers would get important information on upcoming risks via email notifications. As a result, buyers were informed and alerted in advance on events that may impact their portfolio. Buyers could then act proactively on solutions and minimize the risk. Here is another example. The procurement manager received a warning about impending industrial action in India that would affect one of our critical suppliers of raw materials. Our collaboration with this supplier involved a system where they manage the inventory, ensuring we receive deliverables daily. A disruption in this routine could severely impact our production. By engaging with our suppliers early on, we collaboratively developed a continuity plan to mitigate the risk of a halt in supplier due to the industrial action. This process not only minimized potential disruptions, but also fortified our relationships with the suppliers. It's a wrap. Congratulations on finishing another lesson in Module 1. In this lesson, we looked together at common risks in procurement, internal and external, and looked at the ways how to mitigate and address them. See you in the next lesson.